At $290 million per mile, Georgia's SR 400 expansion project is one of the most expensive highway endeavors in US history. The $4.6 billion upgrade, which is mostly privately funded, will be privately operated for 50 years, a rare move for a public road. With dynamic tolling, dedicated transit lanes, and promises of faster commutes, this bold project aims to ease congestion. But can the mix of high costs and private ownership deliver results for Georgia's booming population? Today we'll talk all about this project, why it costs so much, and whether the idea of selling a massive highway to a private group is a good idea. What began as a suburban link in the 1960s has become one of Metro Atlanta's most congested corridors. State Route 400 now moves nearly 280,000 vehicles a day between Sandy Springs and Alpharetta. Fueled by booming tech campuses, business parks, and housing growth across northern Atlanta, the corridor is projected to absorb 144,000 more residents and 114,000 new jobs by 2050. But widening the highway the old-fashioned way hit a wall. Land is tight, property takings would be massive, and environmental red flags are everywhere. Frustrated commuters demanded more than just extra lanes, especially as backups now stretch well beyond rush hour. Planners responded with broader, multimodal thinking. Transit options like bus routes entered the mix, guided by regional pushback against car-only fixes. Still, turning plans into action proved tough. A 2021 public-private partnership bid fizzled after the loan proposal blew past the Georgia Department of Transportation's $1.7 billion budget. The agency pivoted, extending the concession to 50 years and expanding the project's scope. By mid-2024, a group known as SR 400 Peach Partners was selected to deliver a reimagined express lanes project. It's a bold gamble in a sensitive corridor. The stakes, making toll-funded express lanes work at scale while threading the needle between growth, gridlock, and community concerns. To transform one of the busiest corridors in the Atlanta area, the 16-mile infrastructure upgrade is designed to improve travel times, expand transit access, and deliver long-term economic value. Spanning from the North Springs MARTA station near Interstate 285 to north of McFarland Parkway, the project will add 2 new high-occupancy tolled lanes in each direction. These express lanes are buffer separated from general purpose lanes, and we'll talk more about the pricing in a minute. To minimize disruption in land acquisition, GDOT will build roughly 45% of the new pavement offline, outside the existing roadway footprint. Construction crews will work primarily in the median and shoulder areas, allowing general lanes to stay open throughout most of the build period. The express lanes will use long-life concrete to reduce maintenance needs, while shoulders will be asphalt. GDOT's in-house and third-party engineering analysis project a 50-year service life using this strategy. Overpasses at key crossings will be widened or rebuilt with pre-stressed concrete beams and reinforced decks. Tolling and traffic management will be fully electronic. Using Georgia's Peach Pass system, toll rates will be dynamic, raising during peak congestion and dropping in off hours, driven by real-time algorithms to keep traffic moving. A major transit component is the integration of Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT. A dedicated BRT line will run in the express lane median from North Springs to Windward Parkway. The BRT system aims to shift commuters toward public transit. Procurement is being delivered through a Design, Build, Finance, Operate, Maintain, or DBFOM, public-private partnership. GDOT and the State Road and Tollway Authority will retain ownership, while the private consortium, Peach Partners, takes on full responsibility for everything else over a 50-year period. The group will pay Georgia a $4.05 billion upfront concession fee, which GDOT plans to reinvest in other transportation projects. Total project costs are estimated at $4.6 billion, funded through private equity, federal loans, tax-exempt private activity bonds, and other bonds. Privately operated toll roads aren't new in the US, but their results have been mixed. In 2005, Chicago leased a 7.8-mile stretch of I-90 to a private consortium for 99 years, netting the city $1.8 billion up front. The deal was seen as a financial success, but the idea still generated mixed reviews, as the lease later resold to Canadian pension funds for $2.8 billion. In contrast, Indiana leased its 157-mile toll road for $3.8 billion in 2006. But when traffic and toll revenues fell short during the recession, the operator filed for bankruptcy in 2014. A new owner took over, and the road has since stabilized. But it showed how easily these deals can go wrong when projections miss the mark. Toll revenue risk is solely on the private partner. If traffic volumes fall short of forecasts, Peach Partners absorbs the loss. If tolls outperform projections, they profit. GDOT's value for money study found that the public-private partnership model could save taxpayers up to $391 million in net present value. Compared to a traditional state-led procurement, the express lanes are expected to open nearly 2 years earlier. Construction will begin in early 2026 with utility relocation and site preparation, followed by major construction through 2030. The roadway system will be fully operational by 2031, assuming everything goes smoothly, which it rarely does. And knowing all of this is helpful, but it doesn't help answer the question, why does it cost so much? At around $287.5 million per mile, derived from the $4.6 billion price tag, this stands as one of the most expensive highway segment projects in US history, as I mentioned in the intro. That figure dwarfs the Federal Highway Administration's $10 to $15 million per lane mile benchmark for urban lane additions. Headlines decried a record price tag, and critics questioned whether Metro Atlanta truly needed such an outsized investment, even if it was being handled privately. A big chunk of the project's price tag comes down to engineering within tight urban constraints. Instead of widening outward, planners are threading buffer-separated lanes into the narrow medians and shoulders of a live highway. That avoids costly property takings, but building this way is labor-intensive and expensive. The pavement itself is also high performance, which adds cost. Since the private group is on the hook for maintenance over 50 years, they're investing more upfront to avoid long-term costs. Adding BRT makes things even more complex. Dedicated median lanes, full station platforms, and accessibility features aren't standard fare for highway builds. And then there's the financing. Every dollar raised privately comes with built-in risk premiums, since investors are betting on future toll revenue. That financial structure alone inflates the per-mile cost significantly. With such massive upfront commitments, setting the correct toll price becomes critical. Rates need to rise sufficiently during peak periods to deter excess demand, yet remain low enough off-peak so drivers don't avoid the express lanes entirely. And the financial health of the Peach Partners Group hinges entirely on this toll revenue. Established solely for this 50-year concession, the consortium could face severe losses or even bankruptcy if traffic volumes fall short of forecasts, undermining both express lane operations and the state's broader investments in transportation. On one hand, tolling can help manage congestion by allowing price-sensitive drivers to choose between paying for faster travel or using general lanes, improving overall traffic flow. It also ensures that those who benefit most from premium lanes help fund their construction and maintenance, especially important when public funds can be limited. Transit-first advocates argue that rail or expanded commuter lines would deliver more sustainable congestion relief and stronger equity outcomes. Their calls gained urgency amid reports that a 50-year non-compete clause in the concession could bar competing infrastructure, meaning parallel roads or major transit expansions, locking the region into toll-based mobility for decades. Environmental and procurement controversies have compounded public skepticism. Early land acquisitions were criticized for secrecy, while NEPA studies noted impacts to streams and wetlands that require mitigation. In response, local governments have pressed for transparency. Quarterly toll revenue reports, independent audits, community advisory boards, and a public online dashboard. But whether these measures can ensure accountability over half a century remains an open question. In many ways, the State Route 400 express lanes encapsulate the modern transportation paradox, solving yesterday's congestion with tomorrow's tools, all at today's unprecedented cost. While the $290 million per mile price tag raises some serious questions about financial prudence and equity, the stakes go well beyond dollars. At Buildcore, we're building America, one story at a time. We cover some of the most impressive and headline-grabbing projects across this great country. And with your help, the channel has grown to over 40,000 subscribers and reached millions and millions of people. With that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.